And I said, ooh, I'm blinded by the light. Oh, welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Welcome. 277 pages. About to be 278. We're at the bottom of 277. Fuck it, I'll finish this last couple sentences. Bellow. Oh. Sorry. Monetization gone? No! Well, since monetization's gone, let's talk about the CIA. Ah! We're gonna channel our Temple OS. Okay. So how far did I get in comparison? So chapter 21 starts there. Oh yeah, here we go. We'll do this one. We'll start from here. And continue down. Oh, 10 pages. Wow. About to be 11 pages. Okay, I did pretty good. I did pretty good. Okay. So, again, backtracking one paragraph from where we finished off on, and then we'll continue on to get to what we have now, because we're in chapter 21, which is basically the aftermath, and then chapter 22 is going to be the end of the book. Chapter 22 is going to be a shorter chapter, a little bit more like a 2 weeks later sort of deal. Though the shield was turned to its side, for displacement casting was dependent on the view of the caster itself, this downside wasn't a negative in this instance. The superheated fire flash detonated the water and caused a massive steam explosion and chain reaction, the shockwave of which threw Cassandra back. As the rest of the shield evaporated and burst out, it spurned any forward momentum of the hellfire. Unlike the Drakine, who had been on the opposite side of the shield when the steam had pitched him, she was now suffering the blowback as the hellfire slammed into her body, searing her right arm instantly and causing the dagger to fly free. Her feet were then caught in the blistering heat, and she cried out in agony as she flew. Garrix had no time to celebrate as he charged forward. The horde of death, washing like a wave over the side of the bunkers, was racing to tear at him, even grasping desperately to get a hold of his tail. Those that were slowest amongst the horde were knocked aside as the quicker horrors scrambled to get at their prize. There was only one thing for it, and thus Garrix cried out as loud as he could, hoping anyone would hear him. Hilda drove into the demon, the twin daggers forming into her hands as she started to slash and slice at anything she could reach. John charged with a bellowing cry and moved the sword of judgment to skewer the monstrosity of the hells. Richard raised his sickle on high and... Wait. Oh, sword. Whoops. I read a sentence later. Richard raised his sword on high and was going to bring it down along one of the arms. David's crescent sickle flashed as he called upon the spirits and animated the blade to spiral from his hands and gouge at the infernal beast. Johannes attempted to intercept one of the arms, desperately grasping for treasure in the air and off the ground. Alex's outstretched hand caught the edge of the stake and pulled it in firmly as he rolled to redirect his momentum and kicked off the ground. He charged hard at the demon, but instead of striking with the silver immediately, he leapt up to drive it into the base of the neck. It was a gamble, but the metal of truth had a way of punishing things not meant to be, and a demon was never meant to walk the mundane world. Even as it started to puncture inside, there was a loud crackling hiss where it touched. The act of being driven into the flesh was not as smooth as the werewolf would have liked. Several of the people on the roof had either poor aim or judgment, and he felt the pellets and a few rounds hitting into his own body. The bursts of pain suppressed as quickly as his form could manage. He turned the axe of the moonlight in his hand and used the back flat as if it were a hammer and slammed hard on the stake, driving it in as deep as it could go, much to the demon's terror. Ogunthos shrieked out as the silver sent excruciating bursts of pain throughout him, and even still his eyes did not track the threat, but the glint of wealth. If he could just get them, he could repair any injury. He just needed it all. It was all rightfully his. His left hand was grappled by the black-coated wrecker. His right arm was torn and twisted from the blade of the gold-eyed Domari. His legs were slashed and torn by the quick daggers of the gray and brown Speya. His stomach was skewered by the Domari sheriff. His side was shredded by the dutiful Guthi and his animated sickle. His neck was cleaved by the bite of the white Yalderskald's axe. All of these would have been a trifling thing to repair, even the ghastly and bubbling wounds of the salt and the horrific agony of the silver. Yet that thought took them in isolation, and here the petty demon of greed was submitted to all of them. His agony was not yet completed as the freshly turned wrecker leapt into the air, his arms pulling back with bundles of salt in each hand. Still the demon's truest thoughts was on his valuable prize, his precious trinkets and wealth. Even as the left hand collided with the needles of his face, showering salt over his trunk and into one of his eyes to blister and boil apart. Even as the right hand worked into his mouth, cut and torn by those terrible teeth, but discharging its sodium payload inside, causing the demon to gag. With incredible defiance, Ogunthos worked his snout onto some treasure and began to inhale it through his trunk. He could keep this fight going. He just needed more. He needed all of it, and he would use it. The white wolf, though, had seen what was coming and leapt from his back and over his head. The axe held firmly in both hands, and not caring for how he may land, as he drove it down and cleaved the trunk free of the demon's face. What coinage and baubles he had managed to get into it could no longer reach the needed destination, and as his mouth exploded and oozed, he began to gasp. The strength went out of his body, and he doubled over, now a plaything for the wolves, who began carving away at him as if a great bison brought low by the hunting pack. The onslaught from above was also ongoing, much to some of the annoyance, as clearly some of the people were targeting the wolves as well. A few bags of salt hitting against them and thwarting a few attacks, but eventually the constant assault wore down the demon. The only unexpected shortcoming was when the Jakine came racing around the corner, flailing his arms and calling out. It was enough to draw Alex's attention, and he watched as a wave of undead things came scrambling around that corner, trying to get at the living flesh in front of them. The Arctic wolf stammered some and ran towards Garrix, ready to stand against the oncoming sea. A few of the others even started to turn their focus from the demon, but Alex turned back and let out a long growl, his intention clear. The demon must die here, and now. No chance given, while Alex would stand alongside the Drakine in battle. Unexpectedly, though, a new complication entered the equation as Derek fell from the bunker roof and landed hard. Gravar were stronger than humans, healed faster than humans, could do more than a human could, and thus it was not a difficult choice. His landing was not as graceful as he would have liked, but he quickly stood and raised his right hand. Right hand why? What? Right hand high. Bundles of salt resting in it as his voice cried out. Manthorin, hear the cries of the faithful and cast those that defy your realm back to the grave from whence they crawled. The salt in his right hand suddenly shined, and a brilliant flash of light erupted before a wave of energy boomed out, and the entire sea? Yeah, and the entire sea that had rounded the corner burst into ash and dust. Derek stood defiantly strong at first, but his eyes rolled up in his head and he fell backwards, landing completely out cold, while more horrors came running around that corner. Yet enough distance had been claimed with Derek's casting, and Garrix was able to join Alex's side and turn to do battle. Alex spoke up as the axe remained firmly gripped in his hands. Protect that stupid gravehound. While Garrix didn't know what in the hell's that meant, he clapped his hands together after turning them on their side, and a wave of air condensed to a blade struck out and cleaved the first few ranks of undead. The fortunate news was that the horde was mindless, and thus much of the wave was concentrated on trying to claw its way up the northern side of the bunker still. Derek was still not moving, thus Alex groaned and started to head for him. At the same time, the other Wolverine were busy carving up and doing everything they could to damage the demon. Said demon was writhing in agony and starting to vomit, half-digested treasures and coins draining out from him as the last flecks of his consciousness faded away. It was at this moment that all the skin and musculature began to evaporate, falling away and floating off as if paper were burning in a fire. The bones themselves started to crack and fall partially to ash, especially any that were touched by the salt or the silver stake. The last miserable moments of Oganthos's existence in Point Crescent was a pathetic, mindless thing desperately scrambling for any wealth it could get. The difference between the demon and the town could not have been more obvious, even in the uncertainty it had faced and unmasking the truth of the world. This freed up the other wolves and the people on top of the bunker to focus on clearing out the undead. It took a lot of convincing for some that the werewolves were not a problem to be feared. Perhaps it was just grim resignation at the situation, but at long last there became a smooth rhythm as each bit of ground was clawed back and the overwhelming numbers were whittled down. It was only after the threat had been pushed to the last few stragglers that Derek finally started to wake up and gave a long groan. It even took a few moments before he remembered that they were actively in a combat situation, but as he stood he felt lightheaded and nearly fell back down once more. At last, the sounds of fighting had slowed. With the architects of the undead threat being dealt with, there was less risk in the situation devolving further. Now was the time for cleanup and taking stock, with a part of that stock currently hissing and cursing as she tried to find the dagger she had lost. Her desperation had attracted Derek's attention, who wandered over to check on the severely injured warlock. Hey guys, the mage is still alive. His words rang out, and he was unsure at first if anyone had heard him, until he saw Garrix and Alex both turn and start to approach. This built up a bit of extra confidence as he came up to the woman, whose left hand was currently fumbling at the dagger just within reach. Eventually she got hold of it and started to laugh before driving it into her own leg, yet nothing further happened. A hiss of pain escaped her lips and she looked down to see the dagger had of course punctured her body, but she could not channel the healing it had offered before. Instead, the pain pulsated through her and made her whimper. For unbeknownst to her, the demon she had aligned to was slain. At last, she looked to the man approaching her and scowled. Every bit of contempt she could muster was writ large on her face, while she desperately wished to black out from the pain she was in. Why was her stubbornness so all-encompassing now? "Come to mock me, you little shit?" Her eyes blazed with a deep fire as her words dripped with all the venom she had. "Kind of surprised you're still awake. Well, guess nothing left but to finish you off, yeah? Yeah." Derek was still a bit awkward, but he started to walk closer to Cassandra, who tried to pull the dagger from her leg, but the strength wasn't in her anymore. "Fucking shithole of a town. I had so many plans." "I mean, everyone does. You're kind of a vile piece of shit, you know." Derek was a bit confused, though he had seen such moments in shows and movies. Was this some last revelation of the entire plot? A final speech before the lights turned out? "Some backwater pathetic town stopped me? Me? Fucking changelings. Fucking mage. Fuck this town and everyone in it." Should he try and pry some information out? See why she did what she did? She was still a mage, but it seemed she had given up and could barely move her remaining good hand. "All you had to do was lay down and die, and I could have had my revenge." Revenge? On who? Cassandra scowled and rolled her head to look at the man more clearly. "The dwarves." "Arcus? What did he do?" "Not the idiotic barkeep. The fucking clanholds." This made Derek extra confused. She was on the other side of the world from the clanholds. I mean, do you know where you are? Of course I do, you moron. But I need to start somewhere to build up. So I launched an attack and wiped the fucking clanholds off the map. Derek blinked a few more times, while Alex and Garrick's were getting ever closer. Alex's ears had changed from scanning around to totally focused ahead, the hair standing on the back of his neck and belly as he squeezed the axe tighter in his hands. "Then why in the, hells did you not, why not a neighboring country?" "Because the fucking hunters would be all over those countries. They have agreements with the dwarves in their pogrom. Same pogrom that put my mother and father to the forge fire. They killed my family and I was going to make sure they suffered for it." The malice was the only thing keeping her going at the moment. Garrick's came to stand beside Derek, while Alex kept moving forward. "So, you killed the families of people here to..." His words were cut off when the Elderskald took the axe up in both hands and drove it down with a sickening thunk right through Cassandra's face and embedded it into the dirt and loose stone of the alleyway she'd been blown into. Derek jumped up, for he hadn't expected the casual elimination of the warlock, and turned to the massive white werewolf and quickly bowed his head. Sorry. "Hope you enjoy your trip to the hells, you whore." Alex's voice was cold, and he wrenched the axe free of its binding before he turned to look at Derek, who was doing his best to be extra submissive. "Relax. My contempt was for the one that started all this." "Oh, fuck. That was... You know, Wolf, I'm going to have nightmares about that for a while." Garrick covered his face and took a few deep breaths in, now to steady himself. Then he slowly turned to look the white wolf squarely in the eyes. "Right. Problem won't be gone overnight. Anything else dead out there will turn eventually, till we can disrupt the shield. But at least nothing can issue them orders now that she is dead." Each time he looked at Cassandra's split head, he visibly squirmed and thus turned his back to the grisly remains. He had been fighting patchwork horrors just a few moments ago, but seeing a living and breathing thing's head split in two pulsated in his mind. Alex stepped up beside him and placed a clawed hand on his shoulder. "Sorry, but I have a particular loathing for the wicked and their last-minute justifications." Alex then began walking back to join the others, who were cleaning up the last of the undead. "Everyone has their reasons." That's the end of Chapter 20. Then we go into Chapter 21, the totality of it all. Taking stock of the situation was not something that was met with enthusiasm. 15 more townspeople who had been safe in the bunker were now going to be transferred to the local graveyard. This didn't even include townspeople on the outskirts of the cabins that had been slain and reanimated by the warlock. Thus the resentment would likely rise ever higher. The next few hours would decide so much in the wake of the tragedy they had faced. At the front doors of the sheriff's department, a growing crowd was now facing off against the wolves, whose wounds were stitching themselves back together right in front of everyone. Many of those gathered were the Wolfbloods, but none wanted to make the first move, for the town was now past the adrenaline high of battle and into the grieving process. Even more awkward were those that had been saved by the werewolves on their way to combat the demon, for they felt the most out of place and wanted to hold their tongues. That's a good phrase. Everyone has dead people. Rocket before he became regarded. Alex did not shy away, though, for he had been determined to save the town regardless of the secret being broken. Hilda likely wanted to argue that the two other local wolves had both violated the shroud multiple times, but the hypocrisy of it, given her choice to draw the demon to the bunker, stayed her tongue. Steadily more were gathering, though some were taking up positions in the lobby of the sheriff's department for any semblance of cover in anticipation of violence. Harkis was helped down the stairs by Victoria before he started to bemoan all the people present. Carefully he started to move to the side, keeping his back to a wall so that no one could get behind him, as he came around to the front and turned his head to look out. I don't like he's back to the wall so no one could get behind him. Because I already said side before. I'll say to look at the gathering instead of to look outside. Victoria, however, simply walked past the entire collection of people, which made Alex nervous because of the tensions that were on full display. She didn't care. Head held high as she stepped out and threw her arms around Alex and squeezed him close, even as some of the townspeople attempted to stop her or get her attention. "You came back to me." Her words rang out louder than the siren had, or the mortars or machine gun fire. The dead calm of this moment, waiting upon the edge of a knife for which way things would fall. Alex gave a grunt and then carefully wrapped his arm about her before he spoke up. "I promised I would." His voice was soft, and his eyes narrowed some, closing a little as he relaxed, and kept her held firmly in against him. Many of the townspeople shied back, unwilling to entertain what their eyes could plainly see, but Victoria's strength encouraged others, perhaps the most surprising of them all. "You damn wolves. Ain't that bad, I suppose." The dwarf slowly moved outside towards Alex, turning some to ensure nothing was behind him, but standing in front of the white Yalderskald and the strange woman that had helped him. "Odd to hear that from you, dwarf." Alex then slowly extended out a hand and turned it over, presenting the silver stake to him. "I don't know how they got this from you, but I believe it's yours." Derek took a single look at it and jumped before shying away, hiding behind some of the werewolves as Garrix came over Came over and patted Alex on the back. I just had came over, patted Alex on the back. I was like, that doesn't work. Harkus looked dumbfounded at the stake before he took it back in his hands, checking to see if any of the demon was left on it. But it was as perfectly pure as it had been before. This, however, made the dwarf frown as he looked at the white wolf intently. Ye never were under nae threat from it, were ye, lad? Alex shrugged and offered a smile, a thing that did not put the dwarf at ease, for how could a smiling wolf do so? Never interrupt a potential enemy when they're making a mistake. Some of the townspeople were easing up, but others looked to be getting madder. Finally, some of the wolf-bloods moved from the crowd and came to stand with their fully awakened kin. Some even offered a bow to the white wolf, who they knew as their chieftain. Yet this is when the opposite reaction reared its ugly head. You had this power all along, and yet you used us as a shield. The words came from a man, Jeremy Bren, who had watched the love of his life slain before his eyes. You fucking assholes. You absolute pieces of shit. His words of rebuke and contempt fueled the fires of dissent for others to call out. That thing here came because of you all. Our friends died because of you. The voices of the townspeople grew bolder, but this is also when other voices called out to challenge them. That isn't true. Derek stepped forward, seeming to shed some of the nervousness, but he seemed indignant towards them all. The warlock, that lady, she said she just attacked the town to build an army so she'd get revenge on the dwarves. How the fuck does that make any sense? Jeremy said again, before Derek cried out in response. Exactly! It gets even worse, because she did all this because the dwarves killed her family in a purge of humans. So she came and killed our families here. Do you get it? This place was picked because it's an easily isolated community. The stutter in Derek was gone, but it seemed the anger and annoyance was overriding the nervousness. The wolves here did everything they could to help us. Who do you think sounded the alarm? Who brought as many people into safety as they could? Who went out of their way to seek as much aid as possible? This entire situation is fucked, Derek. Those damn... I can't even believe I'm saying this, but we had werewolves. Fucking werewolves of all things. Here. And they could have fought this off themselves. So when Alex stepped up and growled loudly before raising his voice, the gift of the Elder Skald to project it louder. Enough! Well, we could fight against the undead themselves. It is foolish to do battle with a mage. I know some of you must have seen Garrix doing battle and understood the power they wield. This was before we realized that whore was a fucking warlock and a demon was here too. I get you want to be upset. You've lost loved ones. The town has suffered. But you think it would have been better for us to keep you all in the dark and then bumble into a fight with the warlock? How wonderful would it have been to let you all sit in your homes and get ripped apart by her hordes? Much preferable, right? Again, the response was agitation. But some of the other townspeople were coming around to the idea that there was nothing more that could have been done. There would always be this tension, for 15 more had fallen, and at least 60 others who never made it to the bunker to begin with. Some more of that bottled up annoyance was let loose when some of the wolf bloods who were deeper in the bunker came up, children in tow who were too young to comprehend the anger lingering around them. Instead, they simply ran past the others and right up to the wolves. Auntie Hilda! This made the Speya kneel down as the kids jumped at her and held firmly, while some looked at the Rosentian timber wolf beside her and asked, Who's that, Auntie? It was a strange juxtaposition of the happy children and the beleaguered townspeople, unaware that the children shared the blood of the wolf with those that stood exposed before them all. It gave the dissenters a pause to collect their thoughts and then to return to, in their mind, the next winning argument to hold them responsible. You keep trying to say you protected us, but it was the sheriff and the deputy. This time Corey Vander stepped up and looked at everyone, deciding it was now or never. If the bandage was going to be removed, it may as well be torn off completely and in one go. The sheriff is right there in front of you. The wolves here have been the ones organizing the defense of the town. The sheriff saved me and Dr. Fitzpatrick when we were ambushed by the undead outside of town. John grumbled some and covered his face, his tail hanging completely still as he listened to the man's words. But some unexpected new voices started to speak up. Voices came. What the fuck? Yeah, get that out of there. Yeah, when the things attacked the town, I got surrounded and these things tore them apart and saved me. I mean, at the time I thought they were going to eat me, but another voice soon added confirmation of this, though it was quicker on the saving aspect and bolted to the bunker sooner. This brought another lull in the talks, once more oddly opposite the image of children currently patting the largest of the werewolves, as Eric was squatting down and gave huffs at them teasingly. Surprising almost no one in the town, the local grump of an old man, Jackson Weaver himself, now began to speak up. I can't believe you young'uns didn't know they were real. You all forgotten your schoolings. What did you all think they meant about the protector wolves that guided the army, or that the Rosentian flag has a wolf on it? There was an assured smugness to the man, one that was begging to be called out, but his words were true. We live in a fantastical world. Mages are real. Werewolves are real. The great sea serpents and giant krakens are real. Sea serpents and krakens are real? Derek suddenly looked around with strangely wide eyes, as if he had just learned something new, rather than realizing the old man was jumping to conclusions. I can't believe I'm saying this. The point isn't that they are real. The point is that they could have protected us better. A few of the townspeople nodded their heads along with that. This thought, presented as rebuttal, brought a long growl from Alex. How very fucking vague of you. Better. Better how exactly? We've spent days building up defenses, forming alliances, gathering supplies. It is a tragedy some of the townspeople, our friends and neighbors, our loved ones have died. But don't come at us with this bullshit about better. It wasn't like we had a plan in place to deal with a necromancer who turned out to be not just a necromancer, but an ally of the hells with an actual demon from the very beginning. We had to put this plan together with haste, and I think the fact we saved most of the town, the overwhelming majority of it, means we did a damn fine job. If you lot want to hash it out and make me regret my decision as chieftain to not just leave this town to its fate and protect ourselves only, then I'm ready to bring you tooth and claw. You may be hurt because not everyone made it, but at least you're still alive to even have that feeling to begin with. Look at the totality of the fight we just had. I should also like to point out that we still have undead that will be roaming loose. Who knows how long it will take to, get rid of all that. Derek offered into the conversation, partly to reinforce the danger still present, but also to lend more weight to the work the wolves had done. People die in battle, boys and girls. Jackson spoke up once again, now directly facing towards the rest of the townspeople. And make no mistake, this was a battle. This wasn't just some street brawl or hunt gone bad. It was a fight for survival, as every single battle always comes down to. The white wolf over there is right. Be thankful that you still live and breathe. Lend your voices in thanks to all the spirits and gods out there you wish, and then be ever more thankful that those who are not here will be remembered by those left behind. The main instigator of aggression towards them took a deep breath, and then looked directly at the white wolf, doing his best to look as stoic as he could. The pain was there in the finer details of his face, but the anger was slowly leaking away as the new normal of the world shattered through the seeming mundanity of the old. That... I understand, I do. He had to take a few pauses between each word, and his lip quivered in spite of his best resolve. But why? Why couldn't she have been the one you saved? Alex's face softened, as much as a wolf's could. The forward aggression in his ears, the fur standing up on his neck and belly, all slowly eased themselves. His breathing also came slower and more measured, and the stiffness in his body relaxed itself free before he spoke. Take it from someone that can't forget. It's a lesson I started to truly understand recently. Don't destroy yourself from what could have been, and focus instead on what there still is. Alex looked at Victoria, who remained by his side, and gently pulled her in against him. It took someone unexpected to make me see that. Perhaps it'll be the same for you. Harkis closed his eyes and carefully rolled the silver stake in his hands. Even if it wasn't meant for him, the dwarf listened carefully to those words and took a deep breath. He then stepped up and tried to turn his back towards the wolves, getting only part of the way, but it was a show of the trust as best as he could muster now. Right. I think we all need a drink. A celebration be it. One to give thanks for our survival, and to begin remembering those who are nae with us. Nae with us nae more. Everyone is welcome to me bar. Just nae take advantage of me generosity. Jeremy was still in a rough state, but he looked down at the dwarf and gave a nod of his head. I think that may be for the best. And let us get a full accounting of things. I want to know who you all are, and perhaps in time I'll let the hurt I feel fall from your shoulders. It was a better proposition than anyone had expected, and thus the gathering dispersed, not in triumphant cries or jubilation, but in unknown dread. Not even a week ago, the small town was just a simple backwater, where those of hearty conviction, or perhaps apathy, came to reside and choose to build their life. Nothing exciting should have ever happened in such a place. And yet, as the sheriff himself would say, it's the small places where the craziest things happen the most. Whether they would choose to remain in the town once it was fully liberated or not was a matter for time itself. For now, they just needed a process. Give me a second, I need a drink. A part of that processing was the gathering that took place deep within the bunker, as the Wolf-Bloods, some sporting injuries patched of their own, stood in witness to a new sermon. David gave thanks to Meraxes for the gifts of their existence, and that Eric had joined them amongst the awakened, even if his timing was shit. He was helpful. He was a helpful hand in bringing about the end of the demon's ambitions. Derek had begun sprinkling salt on the remains of the horde to ensure their reanimation would be impossible. With the necromantic energy still in the air, the bodies could theoretically come back once again. But the funerary rites and sanctified sodium kept them down for good. Garrick's was on a similar duty, but his was to try and figure out where the hells the warlock had placed her ritual sites so he could undo the shield spell. Those who joined the dwarf at the bar, though off-put by the fact he raced ahead to ensure he was safely back to a wall, looked upon the scene of chaos. Chairs were toppled all over the place, and there was a large pool of blood on the floor, which the dwarf visibly grimaced at. The fact the pool of blood was so prominently displayed in a cleared ring of tossed tables and chairs made it stand out all the more, and naturally made some of the townspeople curious. Deputy Harold Oaken was the first to point directly at it, and then looked at the dwarf, who was now comfortably and assuredly with his back to the booze at the bar. "What the hell's happening here?" Harkus simply let out a gruff rumbling bellow as everyone turned to acknowledge the bloodstain, and then back to the dwarf, who rested his hands on the bar top. "That prick o' a horse son Connor tried to kill me. He done me in right in the back." And that is where I'm up to now. 278 pages, chat. We're almost done. Almost done. Once this chapter rounds out, we go into chapter 22, which will be the full end of it. You know, now we're coming in that we just had the battle and everything. You're coming off that and plateauing a little bit and slowly releasing things down, right? You can leave a complaint in the suggestion box, but I don't check that shit. Yeah. Basically, it's understandable. Both perspectives are understandable, right? Because I didn't want Jeremy to seem unreasonable. Like, again, he lost his wife. He literally got to watch her get torn to shreds in front of him. So, it's understandable the pain he's feeling. And, like, his like, whole thing of not understanding how any of this actually works or anything. And, like, you know, you could have done more and she'd still be alive. And then, of course, Alex is right. He's like Alex knows more. The werewolves know more of how the world actually fucking works. And they're like, we did the best we fucking could. And I think we did a damn good job. Ugh. My kingdom for some booze. Some booze. Yeah. So what do y'all think? What do y'all think thus far? Oh, thank you. Yeah. And again, remember, Rosentia is a very spiritual, like, republic. You know? And it gets made more clear through more of the things. Because I don't want any one book to, like, go super deep into the histories of it. Piercing the Veil is likely going to be more of it, right? Yeah, I'm going to do both. It's going to be digital format and, like, normal publishing, right? So you can actually get, like, a physical book of it, too. It's probably going to be paperback because it's cheaper, you know? I'm sorry, but I don't know how many people would want to buy these. So I'm going to go for the cheapest option. Maybe if it turns out they sell really well, then I'd go for a hardcover copies of these. But paperback is going to be what it is. And this is the second book. The first book it's finished its first draft state. It's going in rewrites now. So I'm rewriting in the first book. This is the second one. The third, fourth, fifth, and sixth books are already started. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you. I'm glad. And like I said, I don't want to go too deep into Rosentian history. Piercing the Veil will do that more because being on Vaki, they're more intimately tied to the spirits of everything, so they kind of know a bit more. There's little history nuggets all throughout all of them to explain, like, Rosentia's past and how it, like, formed. And this is the first one that makes mention of the fact of, like, protector wolves and things like that were helping to lead the old armies of Rosentia when it was a city-state. And then the fact that the Rosentian flag has a wolf on it. And what it is, it's a wolf and a rose that are, instead of, like, crossed swords, the wolf is leaping from the bottom right to the top left, and the rose is going from the bottom left to the top right. And again, a lot of people complain. That's the what's the word for it? That's the flag of the capital, so to speak. And then the like international flag of Rosentia is simpler because you want simpler flags, right? For like if you're gonna do like world stage or like army maneuvers and everything like that, having something that can be misidentified at distance is a bad idea. So the Rosentian, the main like national flag is different. The flag of the capital is the one that has the wolf and the rose. But if you're a Rosentian citizen, you know the flag of the capital. It's the whole. You know what's a good example of it? It's the Confederate States, the Confederate flag versus the battle flag, right? So for anyone that doesn't know, because again, it's not something that's mentioned much. Most people think of the battle flag when they think of the when they actually think of the Confederacy. So I'll show both just because. Yep. This was the stars and bars. This is not the Confederate flag. Okay? Not the Confederate flag. This is the battle flag. This is what you use in military operations and stuff like that, right? This was the Confederate flag. But you may notice something. Think about that from a distance. Think about this even smaller. Hang on. Think about it like this. Way in the distance. You might misidentify what side that flag is on, right? That's where the battle flag came in. There was no misconception about what side this is on. Mm. But yeah, this is just one of those things. So it's the same thing with Rosentia. Rosentia has the flag of the capital, so the one that represents Rosentia itself. The city literally named Rosentia, where the republic formed from. And then the Rosentian flag, the national flag, is different. It's much more simplified, so that you have easier identification. Whoop. Man, like I said, if you're a citizen of Rosentia, then you know the capital flag. And a lot of people will fly the capital flag anyways. Some fly both, but everyone that does tries to fly the excuse me. Yeah. Hmm? Yeah, but everyone that does that feels any sort of patriotism, they'll fly the national flag, but everybody knows the capital flag, and some of them will fly the capital flag alongside the national flag. And the U.S. is kind of special in that its battle flag, naval ensign, and national flag are the same. Yep. Yep. Because a lot of people might be thinking like, oh, but what about like Britain and stuff like that? No. Hang on. The British naval flag. Because most people are like, yeah, what about the British and everything? It's like, no. This is the naval flag. Remember, the ensign is different. So this is more what you would see for the British Navy. where it's up in the corner. It's just stowed away here in a corner. The Australian one has stars, which is funny. Yeah, it's amazing how many countries don't have, like, their navy has a totally different design for it. Because most people, well, I guess I shouldn't say most people, but a lot of people associate it with the U.S. because the U.S. has the same for all its flags. Yeah, let me see the Polish naval flag. Ooh. I knew this flag existed because of the ORP Błyskawica. My favorite ship. My favorite ship in history, the ORP Błyskawica, which is also my favorite ship in World of Warships. They nerfed it so hard, and it's still so good. I love playing it. It's not as good as it used to be, but it is an artillery of a ship. And people don't expect it. People don't expect your gun range to be that fucking far. They're like, what the shit? You're a destroyer and you outrange battleships. It's like, what in the hell is this? Sir, the gun barrels are pointing straight up. Let's fire. Okay, I will, and then we will go into Hytale. List of Russian flags. Whoa. Whoa. Look at these. Look at these weird things. Oh. Flag of the Ministry of Defense, flag of the Ground Forces, flag of the Navy, flag of the Aerospace Forces, flag of the Airborne Forces, flag of the Strategic Missile Forces, flag of the Unmanned Systems Forces. And these are the ground force ones. Russia's cursed. Russia's cursed. Cursed. Accursed. Yes. Yes. Yes, that'll do. Just a red square. That'll do. Or a red, technically rectangle. Yep, that'll do. That's all we need. I curse you with plague of a million flags. Yeah. Again, this is too many flags for your thing. I get, like, you want to do special things like that, but no. Those should just be like the... Those are unit flags. Like, don't start this nonsense. This is too many flags. This is too many flags. Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah, we won't tell them no. This is one where, like, you just stop. Just stop it. Just stop it. Just stop making flags. That's all you gotta do. Just stop making flags, please. Oh. Cease the flaggery. Don't mind if I do. Don't mind if I do. Ugh. Yeah, the city flags are even worse. Oh my god. You have not seen anything until you see some city flags. But state flags, there's some pretty rough ones. Indiana is so close to being a great flag, but then they had to write Indiana on it, and I'm like, nobody can read that when it's up on a flagpole and they're driving down the road or anything, right? What the fuck's wrong with you? what's wrong with you? Like, who in the hell is gonna like? The design on the flag was great. Why are you slapping Indiana on it? Why? The hell's wrong with you? Oh, anyways, as for updates, I don't know. I haven't played ever. I just got on, tried to make a character, but you can't really it's not as, what's the word for it? There we go. So we're gonna do bordered? No. There isn't. Okay, fine. Borderless won't work. Yeah. So the ears. I don't know if they finally added difference to it, but I couldn't get the colors. What? Excuse me? You what now? Pardon? What do you mean I'm in offline mode? What do you mean? Okay. Yes. Let's go. Okay, now we're not in offline mode. Alright, let's see if this works. Oh my god, they finally fucking fixed it. Okay. Shame you can't do multicolor things. That'd be nice. I have to stick with a darker brown. Yep. And again, I like vexillological stuff. Vexillological. Oh my god, the word, the hard word to say. I think I'm gonna keep a brown because again, his coat is supposed to be dark gray, starting the mask. It goes into brown, and then a little bit of cream, and then white. Because Strithlefur is a Rosentian Grey Wolf. If you've never seen what that looks like. Oh, by the way, I'm going to change. Hang on, I want to show this. I'm going to change Jonathan Olfither's coat pattern. Because there was a perfect one that popped up. And it was with a documentary I was watching. So, let's see. Oh, sorry. I gotta get a good picture so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Okay, that one. Okay, that one's Eurasian, but it's fine. It still works for what we're for our purposes here. Actually, here, no, I'll show a American one. Okay, that one is the American one. Now let's get Probably the most famous, wolf, like, ever. There we go. Okay. First and foremost here. Like, this is more what William Lowell, aka Strittlefer's color pattern is, right? You can see the gray, kind of a gray mask, and then it goes into the browns, the creams, and the whites. This is more what his like color pattern is. And then I'll show you what I'm going to change Jonathan Olfither's color pattern into this. Probably the most famous gray wolf, or the most famous wolf out there ever. Ever. How do you feel about those super safeties and force reset triggers popping up all over the place? Gay TF might as well delete the NFA at this rate. Well, there's a plan to do that. They are going to legalize machine guns, or they're going to try to legalize machine guns. Because there is Hughes, who was a Democrat, go figure. The Hughes Amendment has a loophole wherein the government can sell machine guns to the people. And it's only a $250 transfer fee. So if the government sells you a machine gun, you can have the machine gun. Right? So what some states are doing, Kentucky and Virginia are two of the states, or West Virginia, I think. They're two of the states that are actually going to try and pass this legislation to get that to where you can sell machine guns. The state can. And they don't mean marked up either. They mean market value with a $250 charge for transfer. That's it. And then you legally will have a machine gun that you have legally purchased from the state government. No. That's not the point. That is not the point. Because if two of these states pass it, other states, it's like with concealed carry, right? Constitutional carry. And now the overwhelming majority of states are constitutional carry, right? So what they want is they want to get two states to pass it, and then Brandon Herrera said he's going to try to bring this up in for Texas as well. He's going to move heaven and hell to get this bill passed in Texas as well. But if you only need two states to get it, and then you declare reciprocity between the two states. Right? So if you have a machine gun you bought legally in the one state, and you go to another state where buying machine guns is legal, you can bring your machine gun. So once you start with reciprocity, and you have more than one state that's doing it, that starts the snowball effect, right? It's the same thing with constitutional carry. All right, so this wolf right here, it's story time, class. It's story time. Kind of sad story time, but it's story time. This wolf is probably the most famous wolf in the entire world. This wolf is designated M21. And they said they specifically gave them number designations because they didn't want to humanize the wolves, right? He was one of the first wolves born in Yellowstone when Yellowstone reintroduced wolves into the park. He was one of the first ones, and he is, by all measures of all the people that have documented it and everything, all the people that have videotaped him and recorded him and filmed him, he is the king of wolves. He is the wolf. He is the alpha of alphas. And he started as a disperser wolf that came from Rose Creek was his original pack. He was a disperser wolf that left Rose Creek to find his own mate and his own pack. He then stumbles across the Druid Peak pack. Now, the Druid Peak pack are the most famous pack in the world, partly because of M21 here, but also because they are the biggest pack that has ever been seen. The biggest non-like super pack. They are the biggest singular pack. Super packs are when multiple packs form together. But they are the biggest single pack. They are in the Lamar Valley, which has a ton of bountiful elk, because the elk population exploded. When they got rid of the wolves in North America, all of the prey animals, which we talked about in Zootopia as being a problem, the prey animals exploded, and they started destroying all the environments, and there was mass starvation going on everywhere because they ate all the greenery and everything. There was no grass that could bloom. Everything looked dead and lifeless in Yellowstone. And bringing the wolves back is what fixed that. Now, there's also things about, like, river movement, stuff like that, but that's dubious. But, no, wolves literally do balance out the ecosystem. Once they brought the wolves back, suddenly everything was more vibrant, more greens, there was more grasses, there was more food to go around, there weren't mass starvation incidents. Like, it just balanced everything out. The ecosystem was now coming back into equilibrium. M21 was in the early days, when there was a huge, overwhelming abundance of elk, because there was no predator to take out the elks. He comes across the Druid's Peak pack. Druid's Peak were infamous for the researchers and everything because they were bloodthirsty. They were the most violent, the most aggressive pack, and it's because of their leader, F40, a female who was a tyrant. She had lost her mate, but she had become all the more, like, aggressive because she had lost her mate. So the Druid's Peak pack was known for, like, tearing wolves to pieces. Like, they were ruthless. They didn't broker anyone coming in. M21 shows up on the scene, and he's trying to, like, ingratiate himself to the Druid's Peak pack. And at first, you know, a lot of the people observing thought, oh, like, this wolf, he's just committed suicide. He has gone to the most aggressive pack that are infamous for tearing apart wolves, especially males. Well, this was before F40 lost her mate. Now F40's lost her mate. She is a ruthless, tyrannical, and as the researchers called her, a total fucking bitch. She is just vicious and cruel. Two pups, they don't know why, but two puppies got away from the Druid's Peak pack. And they ran over to M21, and they started initiating play behavior. So they started spreading their paws and jumping down on the ground and being like, you want to play? Want to play? And they don't know why they did that. But these were kind of, they nicknamed these two pups the Icebreaker pups. Now, M21 didn't want to play. Like, he was kind of like growly at them, stuff like that. And he's like, no, stay away. But because he didn't outright attack the pups or anything, and the two pups had run over and, like, jumped and wanted to play, he was considered safer. So a bunch of the females from the Druid's Peak pack suddenly went over to him and started greeting him. And this started him going into the pack. Now, originally, he was pure black. Pure black. This is what he looked like in his old age. But he was originally a pure jet black wolf. And then he started, like, graying out more and getting white all over his body. This is the salt and pepper look, right? Well, He would run along with the Druid's Peak pack, but F40 was a total fucking tyrant. And again, ruthless as ruthless can get. And one of her targets that she bullied all the time was actually her sister, F42. F42 was the exact opposite of F40. Whereas F40 was a mean-spirited bitch, as basically everybody did it. Everybody that observed the Druid's Peak pack would say, like, F40 was a mean-spirited bitch. F42 was very much the opposite. She was loving, caring. She would go out of her way not just to help her own puppies, but she would go give food to other puppies and stuff like that of the pack. She was a very magnanimous wolf. And for whatever reason, F40 hated her. Just absolutely hated her. She would bite at her, jump on her all the time, knock her around. Like, she bullied the shit out of F42. And then one day, just out of nowhere, it has been the breeding season. The pups are now in the den. Now, F40 is, like, they suddenly get a call. All the park rangers get a call that there's a wolf on the road. And they go and check on this wolf, and there's this wolf in this drainage ditch right next to the road, shivering, and they're super bloody. They're just caked. There has been something extreme has happened, right? The rangers think, oh, next to the road, might have gotten hit by a car. If it's an unnatural thing, like a car, the park rangers will intervene, and they will patch the wolves up. But as they're getting this wolf put together and taking it to their car, she dies. And they realize that this wolf was F40. This was the tyrant queen of the Druid's Peak pack. And what they had found out from other people observing the pack was that F40 had tried to attack one of F42's pups. And F42 was the very much the kind-hearted, would always do anything for the rest of the pack. And F42 hit her limit. So F42 attacked F40 back. But not just that. Seeing someone challenge F40, the other females of the Druid's Peak pack also dogpiled onto F40. F40 was, like, shredded. Like, ripped to pieces and was cast out of the pack and basically crawled her half-dead ass as far away from Druid Peak as she could before she collapsed in the drainage ditch. Abandoned her puppies, everything. Because she had to. Like, the Druid Peak had spoken and they'd kicked her out. Violently so. Now, F42 did something that no researcher ever expected. F42 went into her own den with her pups, and she would take one pup at a time, and she went all the way over to where F40's den was. And she put her puppy, F42 put her puppies with F40's pups. And she raised both of them. She raised all of them. And this is where M21 comes in, because he steps in as the guardian of all of the puppy dens. All of them. This kind of starts the new era for the Druid Peak pack. No longer will the Druid Peak pack be ruthless. The Druid Peak pack is going to be the finest of the packs. They're no longer going to rule with an iron fist. They are going to rule with a firm hand, but a hand that's guided, right? So F42 raises her sister's pups and her pups, and Druid Peak suddenly has 23 puppies, which is unheard of. 23 puppies that make it and grow into adulthood. The Druid Peak pack is now massive. Instead of being like this small pack, it is now a pack of 36 wolves. Okay? I think it's 36. It's somewhere in that number. It's 30 something. That's a lot of wolves in a single pack. That is a big pack. And at the front of the pack is M21 and F42. And they rule Lamar Valley for 9 years. Now, wolves normally live for about 5 years. That's the average. So the fact that they ruled the valley for 9 years is incredible. Now, unfortunately, there was male. He was M302, but he was kind of as the researchers would say, he was the Joker to M21's Batman. Like, he was not like as strong. He was not as fast, but he was a very handsome wolf. And all of M21's daughters would constantly flock over and try to go meet with 302, which would piss M21 off constantly. But he was not ruthless. He would just, M21 would bully him, knock him down, and basically stand on top of him and be like, know your place, and get the fuck out of here. And he would leave. But then he would come back a couple days later, and so M21 would beat the shit out of him again. And be like, fuck off. 302 would come back again and again and again. M21, and the research said they don't know why M21 just didn't kill him. Like, that's the expected behavior. M21, other males, other alphas would have just killed 302. But for whatever reason, M21 kept letting him go. This is where the Batman comparison comes in, right? Because you got this annoying upstart that keeps coming in, but instead of actually, like, dealing with the problem once and for all, he keeps letting him go. Eventually, what happens is that F42, they don't know how or why, F42 goes a little bit further away than is expected. And F42 gets jumped by the Mollies. The Mollies pack are much more bitter and ruthless. They live in a very harsh part of the park. They live up in a very rocky, inclined area, and they specifically hunt down bison. For whatever reason, F42 was in Molly's territory. Molly's ripped her to shreds. So, M21 lost his mate, and he couldn't find her. And the researcher said it was kind of the saddest thing to, like, see M21 constantly looking for her and not being able to find her. And then eventually one day, they realize M21 leaves the Druid Peak pack. The pack, there was no, like, uproar, there was no fights or anything. In fact, M21 had never, ever lost a fight. He was the strongest, the fastest, the smartest of all the wolves. He had never lost a single fight in his entire life. But he leaves the pack, and he climbs up to the very top of Lamar Valley, looking over the entire valley itself, looking over all of his territory. And he's up there for days, howling and everything like that. And the researchers, I think, like, again, the assumption is that that's where him and F42 would spend a lot of time together, overlooking all of the territory that they controlled. And then M21 was found to have died in his sleep, which is also completely unheard of for a wolf. He lived way beyond his years. Remember, 5 is the average. He is at least 9 years old. Or, like, what'd they say? He was 2, so he was like 11 years old, or something like that. So he lived way beyond his years, and he died in his sleep, overlooking his territory, the Druid Peak Pack territory. So the one that he helped forge and he helped control. Yeah, that's why the researchers said that he was the King of Kings. He was the ultimate wolf. And what's funny is, so he was the ultimate male wolf. M21 is considered the ultimate, right? Then you have his granddaughter becomes the ultimate female. And she starts a new pack by herself and just absolutely dominates another part of the park. But her story, we'll get to her story some other time. Yeah, there you go. There's the story of M21. Again, gorgeous coat. He was originally pure jet black when he was young, and this is what he looked like near the final days of his life. Just a gorgeous salt and pepper coat. Like, that is a beautiful coat. And it's funny because the researchers note the irony is that they gave them numbers so that they wouldn't humanize them. And they're like, the stories that come out of like the fights, betrayals, ambushes, traps, and things like that are like crazy. Crazy when it comes to the Wolf Kingdom. Yeah, so he is considered the ultimate wolf of the park, to the point that there are, like, they commissioned statues of him and everything. I believe they have this one statue in Yellowstone now for him. Oh, hey, look. A book specifically talking about him. Where's the statue? Here's part of the statue. Yeah. Here's part of the statue. The last of his kind, Yellowstone's Wolf 21. And then, here is the book about his life. I'm a little teary. Oh, I got a little teary-eyed thinking about it. Foofta. All right. Okay, chat, what I'm going to do, so I found a new way to cook the chimichangas. I'm going to cook them early, because I need to cook them twice. So I'm going to go put the chimichangas in the air fryer, and come back, and then after about 6 minutes, I'll go flip them, right? Oh, well, thank you, I appreciate that. Yeah, wolves are just, because you'll find it in social animals, right? You won't find the same thing with buffalo or elk or things like that, because their base instinct is survival of themselves first, right? But because wolves are a yeah, I know, isn't that right? Because wolves are a social animal and they have social structures and hierarchy, that's where you can have these happen, right? Twice Changa Chimmies, yep. We didn't want to humanize M21, Lord of Yellowstone, Protector of the Peaks, Grand High Druid of the Pack. Yeah, I know, right? That's what they said. That's why originally they're like, they wanted to do this because they needed to keep an emotional distance, right? Because all of the territories, all of the states outside of Yellowstone, all the states that Yellowstone is in, they are a kill state. They don't like wolves. So the wolves are fine as long as they're in Yellowstone. And so that's why the one ranger, the lead ranger, when M21's granddaughter was killed, and he made mention of it in the papers, a bunch of people like complained, like, you weren't pissed off enough. Like, how dare you not be more upset that she died? And she was hunted. That's how she died. She got shot. And he's like, you had to harden your heart. Like, that's just the way it was. They're safe in the park. Once you leave the park, you're out of our jurisdiction. We can't do anything for you. Like, but a wolf is going to go where a wolf goes. And she left the park, and she unfortunately died. Alright, anyways. Like I said, let me go stick the chimichangas in the air fryer. 6 minutes, and then you flip them over and do 6 more minutes. So yeah, I will be RB. Un momento. I'm back. Okay, I'm gonna change it. Okay, because of Strithelfur's importance in the story and lore and everything, I'm gonna change it to. I think Strithelfur should have M21's coat pattern. I think that's what we should go with. So a little more salt and peppery look. Guess a little too. I think this is close enough. Yeah. One thing I don't like, I wish I could get rid of the ears here, because I've always hated that when they have ears, the like wolf ears. It's like let me get rid of the side ears then. That'd be so, I would appreciate that so much. Like I don't need these earrings and stuff like that. Let me get rid of the side ears and let me have just the top. Thank you very much. Which I think, if I remember right, it's a hairstyle that has the ears. I think. Yeah, it's a hairstyle. Makes me sad. Yep, not a fan of the side ears, but that's okay. Biological redundancy. You hate to see it. Okay, anyways. Sure, we're going to call it Saren, because that's the world that a lot of these books take place on. If it was Cortisoth or anything, it'd be on Sakara. If it was Sidoris or Meraxis, it'd be on Averil. So, but because it's Strithelfur, we are on Saren. Okay, let's see. All damage, day, night. Penalty on death. Okay, it's pretty simple, straightforward. If there's anything else. That poor kitty. That poor kitty. Yeah, okay, alright. I need to think funk. I need to think funk. I think because of the importance, I think I should base... Here's what we're going to do. Here's what I'm going to do. So... Oh wait, there's the other statue. Whoop. M21. Yeah, so here's what I think. Okay. I think I'm going to have Strithlefur, this be his fur pattern. And then... This was his Joker. Who also has a fascinating story. I need to get one that shows his fur pattern better, because he has a very interesting fur pattern. Oh, it's not as... if only that was higher quality. I'll show this one, but I wish this was higher quality. So you could see the fur pattern. Because he had a very interesting fur pattern, and he had a special nickname. Remember the whole conversation about they didn't want to, humanize the wolves? Well, as it turns out, M21's rival, who would gain a couple nicknames. So, M302, the one that 21 would chase around all the time. God, you can't see it in that one either. Good lord. It is so hard to get to show his fur pattern. So this is him. This is 302. M302. M302. It's really hard to see his fur pattern. Alright? So, M21 would constantly see 302, who would turn out to also have main character energy. So 302's story is a bit different. Like, quite different. 302 comes along, and he's courting a lot of M21's daughters. Like, all of the daughters want a piece of 302. Because 302, as I said, for whatever reason, 302 is considered the handsome wolf. He is stupidly handsome. You can see a bit of browns, some black, a little bit of gray here, and a little tuft on his chest and everything. He is considered an extremely handsome wolf. And he gets the nickname of Casanova. They actually name him Casanova. They can't, again, they didn't want to humanize the wolves, but he was too much he very much fit the name Casanova. He was a lover. He was not a fighter. He was not the best hunter. He was not the most powerful of the pack. After M21 dies, the Druid Peak pack suffers a massive problem. They have a rampant disease that runs through their ranks. And it devastates the pack. They are eventually attacked by the Was it the Sioux Creek? They get attacked by a rival pack, and I believe it's the Sioux Creek pack that attacks the Druid Peak. After the Druid Peak have now suffered a horrible, horrible sickness. They've lost, none of their pups have survived the winter. They've lost a bunch of their healthy adults and everything. And then the Sioux Creek attack, and they take them down to 4 wolves. There are 4 wolves left. Of those wolves is Casanova. Casanova has another nickname amongst researchers. Oh, no, Casanova, like 302, 11 charisma. He broke the scale. Casanova has another nickname besides, Casanova. His other nickname is the Wolf Who Would Be King. Because Casanova retreats with the rest of the Druid Peak pack now in shambles. He follows them and he joins them in another part of the park. They have been outcasted from Druid Peak. They are not in Lamar Valley anymore, and they need to rebuild their numbers. Casanova is a lover. He is not a fighter, but he is very, very virile. Very virile. And all of the Druid Peak females that are left are very fertile. So Casanova gets busy, and he repopulates Druid Peak pack. Meanwhile, the Sioux Creek pack go in, and they are now running rampant in Lamar Valley. They have now claimed that territory for themselves. It's theirs. They are basically the kings of the valley. They are the kings of Druid's Peak. Until they get hit by a disease themselves. And suddenly, while they are weakened, Casanova leads the charge. He leads the charge with Druid's Peak, with the Druid's Peak pack, back into Lamar Valley. A couple scuffles happen, but not many. The Sioux, at the same time they were getting pushed by Druid's Peak, the Sioux got attacked by the Mollies. Remember, the Mollies were the vicious ones that killed F-42 earlier? Well, yeah. The Mollies have now struck the Sioux Creek. Sioux Creek now are reeling, and instead of standing to fight against the Druid Peak pack, they all bounce. They're like, we're out. We're just gonna fucking leave. Tuck tail and run, right? We just gotta go. So now Casanova, through his breeding efforts and everything, he has now taken control of Lamar Valley, and he is now the king of Druid Peak. So, yeah, his story is he gets to be the wolf who would be king. And he did it in spite of M21 not liking him at all. My daughters are too good for you. And Casanova's like, well, I want to hear you say that once you die. Old man goes, and the king goes and sits upon his throne and dies in his sleep from natural causes. And Casanova's like, well, now that the goalkeeper's out of the picture, ladies, Casanova's here. Man, like I said, it's hard to get his fur pattern because he has such a distinctive fur pattern. Because you can see he has, like I said, the blacks and the browns, and then here his lower jaw is the salt and peppery gray here that you see. See, you can kind of see it here. You can kind of see how it's a little bit like the lower jaw is that, and then you see his chest is the salt and pepper. He has a very unique fur pattern as well. And apparently irresistible. Irresistible to the Druid Peak pack females. They could not get enough of Casanova. All right, so I'm gonna make Jonathan Ulfither Casanova. It fits too well in the story, right? Now, granted, it's not perfect because Jonathan Ulfither is one of the greatest fighters of all time, But he runs Smiling Wolf Studios. He runs the porn studio, so it makes sense, right? Enjoying the tactical RPG War Tales. Turns out it has a werewolf expansion. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Well, I think I know what I'm getting. Oh, no. Is the sale still ongoing? Hold on. Hold on. We might have to pause for a moment. I need to go flip my stuff in the air fryer, too, but hold on. Oh, it is on sale. Okay. How much is the werewolf one? What's the werewolf expansion called? What? The Curse of Rigel. Okay. Whoop. Oh, you see, I'm thinking about getting the vampire game as well. I'll do both. How about that? Depends on how much Curse of Rigel is. Ah, it's expensive. Okay, well, it better look good. Okay, they look good. Damn it. Shit. Shit. It looks good. Son of a bitch. Oh, so wait, so you can't be the werewolves? Hang on. Hang on, hang on, hang on. I need to go stick the thing in. No, but I mean, like, can you actually play them? Or do you have to, like, now they're an enemy sort of deal? You know what I mean? Covers how to recruit, capture, manage, cure, and optimally build both regular and hyper-trophied lycanthropes. Okay. Okay, yeah, so you can get them. Okay. Okay, well, we're getting it then. Might as well. And I'll go ahead and slap, add to cart, and I'll slap vampire in there as well. Okay. Okay. Since there's only an hour left in the sale. Paymentize me, Captain. Paymentize me. Oh, it hurt. Okay, well. Now I'll go get my food. No, it's an old like detective / medical game set in like Victorian London. Yeah, I will be right back in a momento. I go flip the air fryer food. BRB. Yes and yes. Vampire and they got me with last minute FOMO. 100%. But, just have your game have werewolves in it. And, it's a pretty hard sell for me to pass up. Oh. Waiting for the chunks. Oh. Don't even gotta be Goff. I ain't being too picky at that point. Where's my werewolf girlfriend? Boop. Watch out! Oh. Oh, I didn't expect that. Okay. Stoon. Well, how lovely. Priceless historical relic gone. Okay, now here's the question. No, I haven't played it all. Oh, thank the heavens. Oh. Holy shit, I can't tell you how much that's a godsend. Ooh. Well, that's really nice. Oh. Oh. So the roots are the new hell. Got it. Okay, only plant fiber. Plant fiber. Really? Bigger ones? F maybe? Nope. Maybe cutting? Nope. Nah, I'm gonna just cut you and then I'm gonna bounce. Okay. So specifically has to be stuff like this. Got it. Boy. Excuse me. Okay. Yeah, I'm not a... I used to be more of a, like, supporter of Minecraft, but they're just so... It's just so lazy. It hurts me. It takes them so long to implement anything. They're so slow about it, and it's just like... Ugh. Why? Why do we bother with you? Okay. Right click. Right. Neat. Yeah, we're talking about Minecraft. And how it, how they're just so, like... It sucks that they got a hold of the license. You know, I'm like, I don't blame Notch. He wanted to, you know, he wanted to sell it and move on and everything, and that's fine. But it does kind of suck, you know. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, a shield. Yeah. There's a gigantic tree, eh? Well, I want to... I kind of want to go to, like... I'll take these. Like a snowy biome, if I can find one. I guess it's... Put it out of the way. Craft one of these. Ooh! Hello! Blood rose. Well, given how lazy they are, I kind of wish the same thing. Just stop at this point. Ugh! The gasp! The gasp. Alright, be right back 1 second. I'm gonna pick up my stuff from the air fryer. And legasp some more. Ooh. Oh, not me. Not me. I like snowy biomes and everything, so I kind of want to go find a snowy biome. Yeah, I'm back. I just have to wait for my chimichangas to cool. Because they are, how do you say, very spicy. Very hot. Yeah, we are so hot, yeah. Skeletons. Ooh, that's a big ruin. Pumpkin. Pumpkin. Oh! Down here, you rapscallion! Okay. Yeah. Woo! Come here. Here, you little shit. Come here, where you going, you little shit? Ah! That's way more of them than I expected. Right, so. Ooh, I'll take that. I'll take that. And flee. It's a burr! Burr won't be friend. I don't want to be friend with Burr. Nope. Oh. A poisonous snake. Ow. What? Oh, the thorns. A poisonous snake right in front of me. As I go to look down at my, chimichangas. I'm like, are you cool enough yet? Mm-hmm. And mods. Mods for this are going to be crazy. Naturally, of course, the titular Pokemon mod, whenever it comes out. I wouldn't call it Hymon, though. Just maybe I would avoid that one. That one in particular. I would not call it Hymon. You see how kind of nasty that murky swamp water is. Was that IRL or was that in game? Fish! Actual fish! Spoders. Is that? Marble, or is that supposed to be a little snow? I gotta assume marble. Doesn't feel like it's, you know... It looks icy. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, we found the ice. Whoa! Oh, neat. It's a Greeble Goblin! And a Fuchs. Yeah! Greeble Goblin down! Greeble Goblin down! Wow, that fox looks amazing. Holy shit. Ratos! Ratos. Ooh. Burrs. Snooks. There's a snook. Some Draugr. I'm just gonna call him that. Apparently he's always after me. Boars. Oh, I hate boars. Oh, more bears. But we're getting towards the snowy biome. Look at this. Look at this Fuchs. Look at this Fuchs. Hello, Fuchs. What the? Ow! You little shit. Bad fox. Cheeky little shit. I say, look at those things. Oh, those demonic fish-looking things. Apparently so. Ugh. Okay, I didn't know if they would react. Oh yeah, there's a new hybrid between wolves and coyotes called the coy wolf, and it's taken over because, well, there's a gap. And coy wolves are not a good thing. And the reason they're not a good thing is because imagine the size and strength of a wolf, not exactly, but size and strength of a wolf, and the no fucks given of a coyote. Not a good combo. Congratulations, humanity. This one's on us. We have fucked around. Man, more wintry. Hell yeah. Ooh. Well, that's a little goofy, but you know, we're in a winter biome. No, because they have a bit of the cleverness of the wolves in them too. Like, that's why we know of them as a species, because they're stubbornly good at thwarting efforts to remove them. Look at the whoops! Look at them whoopies! Can we tame a whoop? Whoopee. Whoopee. I'm gonna try. Ah! Whoopee, no! What about bones? What about boons? You want boons? Ow! They don't want boons! Ah, they're coming! Oh, that's an incredible biome over there. I want it. This is frustrating. It's all just... Who built this biome over here? Who built this great wall? Feels like it, doesn't it? Oh, here we go. That's a way up. Ugh! What in the... Oh, it's a polar bear. Oh. Ooh! I don't want none. Okay. Well, guess what we're gonna take over. Or maybe we don't need to? Oh! Yeah. Hooray! Free house. Me either. The first time, so I'm gonna explore. That's not high enough? Okay, hold on. Gotcha. Oh. Oh, nope, they bad. They angy. They angy. Ah! Hello. Ow. Ow. Too small to get on either side of it. Doomed Outlander Shield. All chests of a lost civilization. Pretty sweet. Oh, hell yeah. That's a big improvement. A poisoned log. Ice log. Okay, well. I think I'm gonna take over this place. Yeah. Oh! Wasn't expecting that. Okay. Guess we find some light hide. Let's look for it. Okay, we can swap those out for redwood then. I guess let's do this first. Okay. Okay. What? Oh shit. Oh shit. Okay, guess I gotta figure out how to properly place these. Can we rotate these at all? No. How do we... How doth one rotate? Rotati. Ice log. Yep. Well, I mean, I don't want to put my bed up here. Yes. Okay. This is a nice little lovely shack. A little warehouse. But, you know, it's ours now. Oh. Nope. Ooh, wait, I should force myself to only use what Stricklefer can use. We should go axes only. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, that looks not pleasant. Ooh. Okay, hang on. So, I don't even know if they're. I don't care if they're good or bad, but I think it'd be fun to just do it as a limitation. Thus begin. Descent. It's so fucking dark. Oh, it's so dark. Okay. Tree sap, plant fiber. Okay, plant fiber is gonna be the tricksy one. Or not. I'm just silly. Okay. Wasn't the problem with the plants? I didn't think we were going to have a lot of tundra plants. And then I look over and I see a ton of tundra plants. It's like, oh, well, or you know what I mean, like plants in the snow. My brain was operating on, it's the snow biome. Why would we have a bunch of plants? Oh, I appreciate it, but you know, a little weird, but I appreciate it. Starting our mine downwards. Ugh. I guess I could have started the mine here inside the hut. I get used to the climbing on the ladders. Good lord. This is one I wasn't expecting, that there were so many of, like, these plants around. Out in the snow. Craft the crude battle axe. Okay. Okay, here at the back of the wall. Thank you. Fine. Get out of the way. Thank you. Okay. Throw the copper in. Ooh! Free charcoal, hell yeah. Wait, what's this do? Okay. Alright, I need to make more chests and put them... Okay. Yeah. Alright, let's get our ores and everything, so move these all over. Scraps. Ore. Iron ore in there, thorium ore. Thank you. This. Can't put it there. That's good. What's the other tactical game you gambled on? Yeah. That's a shame. But at least you got one. That's good. Right? That's the way to look at it. Okay. Yeah, let's go. Out to the woods and cut us down a tree. Ew. Mm-hmm. 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 Tra-da-da. We don't need on us. Oh, wait. I don't know if this tactic will work like it does in Minecraft, but you know, see. Well, at some point on stream, we'll have to do some vamp here. Because again, it's more of like a... whatchamacallit? More like a story... deductive game. More like puzzly game. Might not be as beneficial to dig down in Hytale as it is to just go find a cave or something. I think I'm gonna try and find a cave. Hunting strike. Man. It always feels nice when you're right at the end of a book. You know, things are pinging. Things are you know, all coming together and everything. Ooh. No. Bad. Ugh. Gross. Well, everything's coming together. And I'm glad you guys like the way the thing ended. I wanted it to be like a poignant thing about how they can beat the demons and everything. It's because the demons are so obsessive with their sin that they'll literally sabotage themselves because they're trying to indulge it. And it's the only reason why Ogunthos even came was because he was greedy. He thought he could get more by coming into the material plane. Okay. So 16 more ores there. I should cut down some more trees. Oh, hang on. Where did I get that guy while I was over here? Very strange. Oh, more and more. No, I never dig straight down. That's why I always do the spiral staircase. Whoa, I always do the spiral staircase. So I never dig straight down. Even in Terraria, where you have more information to work with. Even in Terraria, I try not to dig straight down unless we're making the elevator. Unless we are doing the elevator, and then the elevator project is its own thing, and there's its own reasons for why we're digging straight down. Ooh! Bounced off his head. What's this do? Oh my god! Whoa! Alright. Woofda. I didn't know I was gonna spin to win. Okay. Oh, 25 is the limit, eh? Alright. Yeah. Yeah. Let me see if we can tame whoops. Okay, how do we tame them? How do tame whoop? So, because apparently we can. We just need to have their favorite food. But what's their favorite food? You know Taki. I just want to know. It says you can tame wolves. Multiple people will say you can tame wolves. What? Mmm. 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 Beans. I'm angry. Okay. Yeah, me. I'm their favorite food apparently. No likey. No likey. Be favorite food. No, sir. Wait, charcoal's actually worse than the logs? That don't seem right. That seems silly to me. Alright, well, I guess I'll go harvest a bunch more lugs then. All the lugs. And of course get more stuff from the furnace. Oh fuck. Back here, you little shit. Yeah, that's what I thought. Oh fuck. Oh. Hmm. Well, the devs is silly. I would say at that point, don't give us the no, you want it to. You would want it to be charcoal. Oh, yeah, it's right over here. What am I doing? Silly me. And let's replace our tools. How do we make a repair kit? You need iron or anything? Is this a one-time use thing? Oh, ew. Ugh, that's nasty. But, you know, I guess it is what it is. Yep. Well, I know some mods that we should get near the start then. Oh, man. And what? I'm in the hole! Oh, I'm just so eepy. Come here. Pew, pew. Hey, get back here, you little fuck. Where are you going? Where are you going? Yeah, I agree. Stuff can we make eventually. Oh, we need logs. Okay. Logs, logs, everywhere there are logs. Oh, do not redeem! Do not redeem! Sir! Sir, do not redeem! No! Alright. Craft? Craft. Oh, shit. Ooh. Ooh, fruit skewer. Ooh, vegetable skewer. Sure. Craft. No, 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 no. Yeah. Alrighty. Oh, chat. Okay. Chat, I'm about to tell you what's going to happen. I think I'm going to sign off here for now. I'm going to take a nap. The nap sounds incredible right now. And then get up, finish the book, and maybe finish. We'll at least get to the next chapter, which the last chapter will be the end-off thing. Ugh. And tomorrow, what do we want to do tomorrow? What do we want to do? What do we want to do? Maybe some vampire? A vampire? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. Then for Saturday Showtime, we'll be watching Zootopia 2. I've never seen the movie before, so no spoilerinos. Never seen it before. Well, give it a peek. We'll see if it's hopefully better. I'm hoping it's better. Yeah, and we'll go from there. In the meantime, though, chat, happy yawns and naps. Hope you take care. Have a fantastic day. Stay safe and healthy. Get finger ripped, and I will see you back here tomorrow. Whew. That was a long yawn all throughout that. Yeah, bye-bye for now, everyone.